Thank you very much, folks. Good evening and welcome to the beautiful Avalon Theatre. As you can tell, we have a phenomenal group of musicians here on stage. So how about it? One more time for the Glenn Miller Orchestra. My name is Eric Stabnow, and I'm from Rochester, New York, and it's my pleasure to serve as the orchestra's music director, and I'll be your host this evening. And we have a great program that's going to include all of Glenn Miller's biggest hits and a lot more fun music from the swing era as well. But we began this show as we always do, and that's with our theme song, Moonlight Serenade. That comes from this orchestra's very first year of existence, 1938, and just like the original band, we still begin and end every single show with our theme song the way they did over 80 years ago. We then followed that up with a classic of the big band era written by George Gershwin that was called Strike Up the Band. And we finished that opening set of three with one of this orchestra's biggest hits, a song from the early 1940s that gets its title and it gets its lyrics from the phone number to the hotel, Pennsylvania in New York City. And that song is called? And everybody said, Pennsylvania 65000. That's absolutely right, folks. And this music is a lot of fun. It's absolutely meant to be a lot of fun. We hope you sing along on Pennsylvania 65000. We hope you sing along and enjoy yourselves throughout the performance, and it'll really be a great time with some great music. There's also just a fabulous history to this stuff as well. Take Pennsylvania 65000, for example. It's a true story. It does get its title from the phone number to the Hotel Pennsylvania, and that hotel was in existence until just a couple years ago. It was one of the biggest hotels in Manhattan, and it had the exact same phone number the whole time. As a matter of fact, they claimed to have the longest single-running phone number in New York City at that time. They claimed, and we assume they were right, folks, but it really goes to show you something that the music, the song, actually outlasted the hotel that it was written about, which just goes to show you can't stop the Glenn Miller Orchestra. There you have it. Well, we'll be sure to give some background history on the music, as well as introduce these fabulous players on stage. These folks come to us from all across the country, and of course, big band swing music features plenty of solos, so we'll introduce these folks as they step up to the front, and you should know, generally they are improvising, so what you hear is made up right on the spot. We'll begin with two soloists you met on Pennsylvania 65000, beginning with our trumpet soloist. He comes to us from Vancouver, Washington. That's Dennis Pachuk. And followed by our alto saxophone soloist. She's from Tokyo, Japan. That's Stephanie Tatewa. All right, you'll hear a little more from Stephanie, and the rest of the saxophone section on this next song features a great melody and some solos for these folks over here. It's called A String of Pearls. A string of pearls. We've got a few more saxophone soloists to introduce to you, beginning with this gentleman on the far end. He's playing the alto saxophone, the baritone saxophone, the clarinet, and sometimes the bass clarinet. He's from New Orleans, Louisiana, James Plaisance. And our other tenor saxophone soloist over there, he's from Wichita, Kansas. That's Caleb Abbott. And that song, folks, String of Pearls, was a #1 hit for the band. Really a popular one back in the day, and a song that we've played ever since. Really has stood the test of time, and a fabulous hit from the swing era. So, of course, that's an era that's known for a lot of great instrumentals and a lot of great vocals as well. So up next, we've got a couple of vocals for you and a fabulous singer to sing them. Her name is Jenny Swish, and she comes to us from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. She's going to join us here for a couple great ones from the early days. That was a time period when Glenn's singers would occasionally sing what we call a novelty tune, which is kind of a silly song with some fun, lighthearted lyrics, and we may count either of these next two in that category. The next song is called My, and you'll meet Jenny Swish in just a moment.
I wanna shout if I am about how I dream of that gleam in your eye. I wanna shout, but all that comes out is my. I wanna sing of flowers in spring, but oh dear, when you're near, I just die. I wanna sing, but can't sing a thing but my. I should say, oh, how lovely. I should say, I should have Shakespeare at the tip of my tongue, but every time we meet, I look at you, and what do? I get weak, I can't speak, I just sigh. And though I try, the best I can sigh is my. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening. Like Eric said, my name is Jenny. I'm delighted to be here singing for you all this evening. But how about this band, y'all? All right. Well, we're going to continue with another novelty tune, as Eric said. This one's a really fun one called the Rumba Jumps.
1, 2, 1, 2.
There's a Harlem band way down in San Domingo, a very talented group. They kick them off of a sloop. Even though the band can't understand their lingo, they never down in the dumps. 'Cause when the drummer boy thumps, the rumba jumps. They all at the moment they landed. We've got a rumba, the king was commanded. Then they passed the chin and started into play. The way they learned to play. back in the USA.
Well, Santo Domingo just wouldn't let me be, so I ran out on my visa for it ran out on me. But when I ran, I was no chump. I took along the drummer. He makes the rumba jump. Thank you, and how about it for our featured vocalist, that's Jenny Swash. Some fabulous singing there, folks. We'll have Jenny rejoin us in just a while for a few more songs on her own and some more others as well. You know, it's great to be back here in Easton, Maryland at the Avalon Theatre. This is just about one of our annual shows and absolutely just a fabulous place for the band, so we're having a great time, and certainly is nice to see some familiar faces at the venue once we arrive here and be at a place that we're actually familiar with, because this band does just about as much traveling as you can possibly imagine. A typical year for the Glenn Miller Orchestra might include as many as 200 or more shows all around the U.S. So we really do see just about everything, and you folks have a great place here in town. Well, we're going to continue here with a ballad to kind of feature the sound of the band and kind of feature the sound of the room. You'll notice we've got microphones here for the soloists and the vocalists. Otherwise, you are hearing the acoustic sound of this orchestra, and we like to pick out some instrumental ballads here and there to feature the sound of the band and the sound of the theater we're in. And here's a beautiful one. It's called Adios. right, folks, that one's called Adios, and a beautiful melody. You heard that melody introduced by our section leaders here in the brass section. So we'll begin the introductions with our trumpet section leader. He's from DeLand, Florida. That's Ashley Hall. And then our trombone section leader, he comes to us from Anchorage, Alaska. That's George Reiner. Well, Glenn Miller had music that came from so many different places. He wrote some of this stuff himself. Others wrote other music for him. Some came from films. And in the case of these next couple songs, they're based on old classical melodies. This next one comes from an old opera. I can't remember by who, but it comes from an old opera, folks, and we've been playing it a lot ever since. It's called the Anvil Chorus. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. Not bad for an old song from an opera, huh, folks? There's the Anvil Chorus. Well, back when they played that in the opera, they didn't have a drummer like we have featured on that song. We've got a great one. And he's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Dean Schweiger. Il Trovatore by Giuseppe Verdi. That's what that one is from. See, it was just on the tip of my tongue, and I couldn't quite remember it. You know, folks, one of the things that makes this venue memorable is that we've played this one just about every year. And a few years ago, they recorded our performance. They've got some really nice cameras in here. They recorded the performance, and it's up on YouTube, and that has become one of our most, or possibly our most viewed video on YouTube. As of now, I believe it has 750,000 views from just a few years ago. And I believe they said they may be recording this one tonight, which is just great for me because now 750,000 people can see me forget anything about that last song during the introduction. But saying things on stage that I wish I hadn't is nothing new for me, folks. If I had a quarter for every time, then I absolutely would have gotten a quarter last night, that's for sure, and we're going to try to avoid that for the rest of the show. So, this next song comes from a melody based on an old classical tune, and it was turned into a beautiful vocal ballad that was performed by Glenn Miller and his orchestra in the early 1940s. It's called The Story of a Starry Night.
This is the story of a starry night, the faded glory of a new delight. One breathless meeting, two lips repeating, three little words that were sweet but fleeting. When stars are bright, my heart keeps wondering why. Our first good night became our last goodbye. I pray that someday love will in some way bring back the story of a starry night.
Thank you very much. A lot of fun music and really beautiful melodies to choose from in the Glenn Miller Songbook. A lot of great vocal ballads, just like that last one. The story of a starry night based on a melody by Tchaikovsky. So we've got up next a melody written by a couple of folks that worked for a film company back in the 1940s. Mac Gordon and Harry Warren wrote this next song in 1941 because it debuted as part of a film that starred Glenn Miller and his orchestra. It was called Sun Valley Serenade. Anyone seen Sun Valley Serenade out there? That's typical, about 8 people, thank you. For those that haven't, it's a fabulous film with some great music by Glenn Miller and his orchestra, and some of this stuff really got quite popular, especially this next song, no doubt the big hit from the film. It was a #1 hit. It was also nominated for the Academy Award for Best Original Song in its year, and it holds a very unique distinction. It was given the first gold record ever given out for breaking 1 million sales, all within a year of its release. And the song is called Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Step aside, partner, it's my day. Bend the ear and listen to my version of a really solid Tennessee excursion. Pardon me there, is that the Chattanooga Choo Choo?
Yes, yes.
Track 29. Hey, you can give me a shine. Can you afford to board the Chattanooga Choo Choo? I've got my fare and just a trifle to spare. You leave the Pennsylvania station about 4:45. You read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore.
Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer than to rub your ham and eggs in Carolina.
When you hear the whistle blowing A to the bar, but then you know that Tennessee is not very far.
Shovel all the rolling, gotta keep it rolling.
Well, the Chattanooga, there you are. There's gonna be a third party at the station.
Saturday,
I used to call Funny Face. She's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never grow. So Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home?
Chattanooga, Chattanooga.
All aboard, get aboard. Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home?
Chattanooga choo-choo.
How about it for Jenny Swash and the Moonlight Serenaders?
and Eric Stabnow.
Did you recognize that one or something? Chattanooga Choo Choo, a great one. The orchestra has certainly been playing it ever since. And, of course, our version, just like Glenn's original version, features a vocal group. Glenn Miller worked with a fabulous vocal group in the 1940s called the Modern Airs, and they met at a recording session in New York City, joined the band shortly after, and the rest is history. They sang a lot of great songs, including Chattanooga Choo Choo, and some more that we'll get to in the second half. But the current Glenn Miller Orchestra, we also have our own vocal group that you just met called the Moonlight Serenaders, and we'll take a moment to introduce those fabulous musicians and singers to you. This gentleman here playing the trombone and singing comes to us from Jacksonville, Florida. How about it for Derek Kwong? Behind him, this gentleman playing the trumpet and singing comes to us from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. That's Joe Young. And finally, this gentleman in the middle of our saxophone section is our saxophone section leader, playing the clarinet, playing the alto saxophone, and singing those backup harmonies. He's from Chicago, Illinois, Kevin Sheehan. Well, we're going to finish up this first half with a couple songs that were big hits during the war era, the World War II era. And Glenn Miller served his country during that time from 1942 to 1944. He was in the newly formed Army Air Forces, and military bands have been around for a long time. Glenn led a military band and really was instrumental in sort of pushing the idea of what a military band could do and what kind of music they could play. It wasn't just marches anymore. His band was playing a lot of the same kind of popular music that you would have heard in what we call his civilian years now. So we have a song up next from that era, and this one originally featured a very talented clarinetist that Glenn worked with at the time named Peanuts Hucko. He went on to lead the Glenn Miller Orchestra for some time after that. And so, this version is going to feature our very talented clarinetist, Kevin Sheehan. The song is called Mission to Moscow. How about it for Kevin Sheehan on the clarinet? Some Some fabulous musicians in this group, folks. As a matter of fact, there's just a few musicians left to introduce to you, which we'll do so before we finish off the first half. Of course, it takes a great rhythm section to have a great dance band, and we certainly have one. Two more members to introduce in that section. Our pianist is from Melbourne, Florida. That's Daniel Tenbush. And our bass player back there, he comes to us from Madison, Wisconsin. That's Oliver Gomez. And of course, every great swing band or great dance band has to have a strong foundation, and we certainly have that in our bass trombone player over here on the far end, also playing the tenor trombone. He's from Warren, Maine. How about it for Jason Bennett? And I should mention that after this next tune, there will be about a 20-minute intermission, and during that time, a few folks from the orchestra will make their way out to the lobby area. Our vocalist Jenny and our drummer Dean will be out there, and they'll have a bunch of different Glenn Miller Orchestra items, so if you want to bring home a piece of the concert, you certainly have a chance to do so. And they've got some great ones. There's some apparel that includes a t-shirt and hats and others. They've also got a book that tells the story about life on the road with the Glenn Miller Orchestra. And I don't mean the 1930s and 40s band, I mean this group that you see on stage. And it really is a fascinating story about those 200 or more shows a year and everything that goes along with that. A fascinating read with some interviews, anecdotes, and all sorts of things. They've also got a couple CDs and a DVD out there. And I'll draw your attention to the two newest items. One of them is Jenny Swiesh's debut album, and it features her fabulous vocals along with a great song selection from this era of music, and really sounds fabulous. We've also got a brand new Glenn Miller Orchestra CD out there that was recorded earlier this year at a live performance in Las Vegas, and it features all the big Glenn Miller hits and a lot more fun music, and it just goes to show that what happens in Vegas ends up on the Glenn Miller Orchestra sales table. So there you have it, folks. Be sure to check that stuff out. We're going to end the first half with another big hit of the World War II era. It's a song that we play at every single show called The American Patrol, and it's a song that we always dedicate to the veterans. Of course, Glenn Miller served his country. Veterans, you folks, are now as important to us as ever. And I'd have to imagine that we have some veterans in a crowd like this. So, if it's possible to turn the house lights up here for just a moment, and we can take a look at one another all around this beautiful room. I'll tell you what, if we do have some veterans out there, we would love it for you folks to stand for us at this time, if you're able, so we can all give you a big round of applause and say, thank you, veterans. Veterans, we appreciate you folks. Here's Glenn Miller's American Patrol. Veterans, that's for you, the American Patrol, and how about it for the Glenn Miller Orchestra? Thank you very much, folks, and welcome back. We've got a lot of great music coming up for you all here in the second half. We started with a song from the early days, the 1930s, and that was called Pagan Love Song, an up-tempo instrumental to start off that second half. We're going to continue now with some vocal music, and that means we're going to invite Jenny Swish back to the stage. And, of course, this orchestra has been around for a long time, so as you can imagine, there really is a lot of music to choose from. During the 1930s and 1940s period, there's something like 750 or more songs just from that period. A lot of music in a few years. Since then, at least another 750 have been added, so over 1,500 songs in the Glenn Miller Orchestra library. We've picked out a couple of these vocals that come from these later periods of the band. However, this next melody is an old classic, and I know you're going to love hearing Jenny sing this one just as much as we do. The song is called Almost Like Being in Love, and please welcome back to the stage, Jenny Swish.
What a day this has been, what a rare mood that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when the bell starts to fill, I could swear I was falling. I could swear I was falling. 'Cause it's almost like being loved. All the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to fill, I could swear I was falling. I could swear I was falling. 'Cause it's almost like being in love. Yes, it's almost like being, almost like being, it's almost like being in love. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we are truly having such a wonderful time playing for you all this evening. Are y'all having fun out there tonight? That's what I thought. All right, well, it was great to get to meet and chat with you out at the merchandise table in the lobby during the intermission. A quick reminder that Dean and I will be back out there at the end of the show. I believe Eric may join us as well. So if you'd love to come check out what we've got for sale, please do that. Or if you just want to say hello, we'd love to see you as well. And I do want to point out one new item. I believe Eric mentioned it, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it as well. It is my debut album. It's called Tonight in Dreamland, and it is truly a project of love, and we did a lot of great songs very similar to this type of music on there. We've got half of the big band, half of the piano trio, and a lot of the guys in this band played on that, and it was actually recorded not too far from here, just up in Massachusetts. So you know it's good, huh? Thank you so much. Well, we're going to do another great ballad. We love playing this one. It's called Come Rain or Come Shine. I'm gonna love you like nobody's loved you, come rain or come shine. High as a mountain or deep as a river, come rain or come shine. I guess when you met me, it was just one of those things. But don't ever bet me, 'cause I'm gonna be true if you let me. And you're gonna love me like nobody's loved me, come rain or come shine. Happy together, unhappy together, and won't it be fine? Days may be cloudy or sunny, we're in or we're out of the money, but I'm with you always, I'm with me, come rain or come shine. Happy together, I'm happy together, and won't it be fine? Days may be cloudy or sunny, we're in or we're out of the money, but I'm with you always, I'm with you rain or shine. I'm with you rain or
How about it for Jenny Swash, everybody? That's as good as it gets, folks. That's as good as it gets. So, what can we possibly follow that up with? We'll have to figure something out. We do have a #1 hit instrumental, so we'll give that a try here. This is one that we play at each and every show. It was written by a musician named Erskine Hawkins in 1939. The next year, 1940, is the year that Glenn Miller and his orchestra recorded this one. It went all the way to #1 on the charts. Here is Tuxedo Junction. You folks up front didn't know you were buying tickets to the Splash Zone this evening, did you? There it is, Tuxedo Junction. That's one of the simplest songs in the whole Glenn Miller songbook, certainly one of the most fun. And if you've been to see the orchestra perform before, you know about nearly half of our set list is going to be these same big #1 hits, songs that folks know and recognize and love. The other half of that of the program is usually some of these songs that we draw from that huge and extensive Glenn Miller Orchestra library. So hopefully, if you know this music, you'll recognize some, and you'll have some brand new stuff to hear as well. Which raises the question: is there anyone in here that has seen the Glenn Miller Orchestra perform at the Avalon Theatre before? Give us a shout if that's the case. Let us know you're out there. We're delighted to have you folks back. And is there anyone out there that's hearing the orchestra perform for the very first time this evening? Give us a shout if that's the case. All right, we're glad to have you folks as well. We're going to continue here with another vocal ballad, and this one sort of meets at the intersection of country western music and swing, and there's a couple songs of that era that seem to bridge both of those genres. Here's a lovely ballad called "The Call of the Canyon."
Just a melancholy echo, lingering when the day is through. It's the call of the canyon. Once again I'm dreaming of you. Every night I search the moonlight, up and down the river shore. It's the call of the canyon. Maybe I will find you once more, standing all alone by the ashes of a fire we said would never die. Will I ever find an ember burning from the days gone by? Then I hear a lonely whisper as a little spark I see. It's the call of the canyon, bringing back your answer to me.
Thank you there very much. Lovely tune, The Call of the Canyon. So we're going to invite our Vocal group here up next, including myself, Jenny Swish, and the Moonlight Serenaders for this next period piece, a vocal group song that once again comes from the early 1940s. And you know, I touched on this this topic of novelty tunes, kind of silly tunes. There's some that are in Jenny's vocal book, and some certainly in the vocal group book as well. Chattanooga is, I'm sorry to break it to you folks, it's not a very serious song, okay? The same goes for a lot of the music they sang. This next one is really a period piece, though. You'll hear some references to that particular era in this song called At the President's Birthday Ball. Thank you very much, folks. Well, it has been a pleasure to be back. I've said it once, and I'll say it one more time. Because we're nearing the end of our performance here, we still got a couple great songs left, but just a few for you. So with all that being said, if you want to keep up with this band and our busy tour schedule between now and the next time we're back here, there's a couple different ways you can do so. Be sure to check out our website. That's glennmillerorchestra.com, and that has some information about the group and our tour schedule. And it also has links to our social media accounts. Our Facebook page is called the world-famous Glenn Miller Orchestra, and our Instagram, is that funny? let me say it this way. Our Facebook page is called the world famous Glenn Miller Orchestra, and our Instagram handle is at the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and those have a lot of fun pictures and videos and things like that from day-to-day life on the tour bus and at the show and everything else between. Here's the spoiler, folks. There is nothing in between the tour bus and the show for this band, playing 200 shows a year, as you can imagine. So, anyways, be sure to follow along. With all that being said, we'd love to come back here as soon as we can. And, of course, afterwards, Jenny and Dean. I've done that before, but not on stage. That's great, as now these 750,000 people can hear that. Okay. Really, the point here is, folks, we have a couple great songs that we're going to end with, and we're going to do these back to back to back because we just want you to hear all these big number ones in a row. So, with all that being said, something tells me you're going to recognize this next one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's In the Mood, then Little Brown Jug, and how about it, folks, for the Glenn Miller Orchestra. Well, folks, once again, we've made it back to our theme song, Moonlight Serenade, which means it's time for us to say goodnight. So once more, I'd like to recognize all of these fabulous musicians in the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and of course our vocalist, Jenny Swartz. We had a wonderful time with you all this evening, and we hope to see you again soon.
The Glenn Miller Orchestra. And one more time for Eric Stabnow. Well, would you like to hear one more? All right.
That's called the Farewell Blues. And how about it one more time for the Glenn Miller Orchestra?